von Zaha, Hadid Architects, und auch ihn bitte ich um einige Grußworte. Begrüßen wir ihn mit einem Applaus. Ein Applaus für Patrik Schumacher. Un applauso per Patrik Schumacher, Zaha, Hadid Architects.
Welcome everybody, and thanks for coming out for this wonderful moment. I will speak English because I can't speak Italian, and I think it's also quicker this way rather than having various languages piled on top of each other. So first of all, a very warm greetings of Zaha Hadid, who's apologizing to everybody, and particularly to Reinhold Messner and the Shirama, that she couldn't come this morning. But she loves the project and has been following the project because this is the kind of project she loves. That's actually, we have to look back by now nearly 30 years ago when Zaha Hadid first entered the architectural world with a major competition win, very much like a project like this, anticipating to some extent this project, but remained unbuilt at the Hong Kong Peak, a club cutting into the mountain, and her idea at the time was to have something carving into the mountain and cantilevering off the mountain and create an artificial architectural tectonic landscape embedded in a real mountainscape and tectonic scape. And I think this was very influential. This was simulated with painterly imagination, so there were a series of major paintings which anticipated this. I think therefore the whole design language of Zaha Hadid has evolved with the idea to make architecture more landscape-like. The features of landscape which we like is the dynamism, is the open-endedness, the fluidity, and the flow from zone to zone, from space to space, in an open texture, which we're trying to emulate in our architecture rather than having symmetry and proportion and fixed segmented rooms. So I think that's very important in general. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to have this, be involved in this project. Now, this particular project was very much guided by Reinhold Messner himself in terms of the idea of coming up here that we might have done something projective. He wanted to carve into the mountain. He wanted to go deep and into the mountain and then emerge with three elements cutting out, projecting forward from the slope to frame the three beautiful silhouette mountain massive signature mountains here. You step out, one of them you'll see is a balcony and the two others are major windows. So that was all Reinhold's idea. So we thank him, and we were very happy to work with him on this. So it's a real synthesis of his imagination and our artistic hand, if you like. So we were just translating in our language and our artistic sensibility his vision, and he was incredibly cooperative then to allow this to become a true, let's say, complete and total artwork, a Gesamtkunstwerk, where we have an immersive environment, where there is a coherency of exterior articulation and interior articulation. It's really one coherent material, exterior and interior, like these rock formations with a similar color, and to have something which allows and makes it to some extent difficult and challenging to then place the objects in artworks. We made some frames and niches which in a sense make the images and imaginative mountainscapes, puts it on one level with the framed real images. But it is also, because this is a world as much a world of imagination and dreaming and stimulation as it is looking at particular objects. These objects are objects, just symbols and signatures of the audacity and experiences which Reinhold has gone through and inspires others to follow. And I think his influence, I mean, I must say that he has been a hero and monument. I mean, when I was a very little boy, I was seeing him on television already all the time. And so it's amazing to look at him now, and he looks exactly the same he looked 40 years ago when I was kind of growing up. in the late 60s and 70s. So. But his influence is global. We have one of our major clients from China, one of the biggest developers of China. We've met him in London at a dinner, and he was talking about having just met Reinhold, and there's a coincidence. He is also a mountaineer who has been climbing Mount Everest, Wang Shi, but he said there was one major difference. He had oxygen, and Reinhold went up there without any oxygen. So he loves you, he adores you, and it was such a privilege for him to see you. So yeah, well, I mean, I want to thank a few people. So Reinhold, first of all, for this kind of dialogue. I mean, we initially won a competition here for a platform which projected upwards, and then so we kind of, and it was the Shirama client who then with Reinhold changed that project. But really have to mention our team, which is Cornelius Schlotthauer and Peter Irmscher, who's been coming out here and working with Reinhold and the team. And also want to mention Kruno Talek, who has been producing all the complex three-dimensional architectural element, because to make this architecture nature-like needs on the one hand a certain sophistication and design skills using computational processes, but also to have people who are pioneers in allowing this to be translated into the real world through a computational intelligence, robotic manufacturing, etc. So he is somebody who's really stuck his neck out and put his heart in this, and I want to mention him as well. So, well, without further ado, I think that's what I want to say. Welcome everybody. I absolutely love the situation here and that spectacular panorama and being part of this. I'm really, really proud. And again, greetings from Zaha, and everybody is welcome. Can we pull this off now? Or, I know Reinhold has to speak first.
Thank you very much, Patrik Schumacher from Zaha, Hadid Architects. Dankeschön an Patrik Schumacher. Ich würde sagen, wir